Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Sunchild Tarot and to my late full moon readings. I tried to start on the full moon yesterday. If you saw the one reading that I did present, I was having technical issues. But I really enjoy doing these Gods at Play readings, looking at the opposing forces that may be working with us over the past. Well, for today's reading, it's an interesting one because it could be for the next 2 weeks, waiting up until the new moon, and we're clearing out of the whole Cancer Capricorn cycle, which this lunar eclipse last night, which was not a good one. Listening to all the astrologers, it's not good. It could be, obviously, for the next 4 weeks, working up until the next full moon. It could be for the next 6 months, working all the way towards the next eclipse, which I think is on the winter solstice. It's interesting that this year, which is remarkable for having 6 eclipses rather than 4, that the eclipses are actually smack bang on the solstice points. So, just in case you hadn't noticed, 2020 is a really big year. And of course, there's nothing going on in the world that would give you that impression, is there? Right, so I look at the opposing forces here. This is a... you could ask a question beforehand. It's not the sort of reading where I guarantee that you will actually get an answer because, as I say, we are looking at the forces. We are looking at the energies that are at play. I have 2 rows on my reading. The top row is looking at the gods as archontic masks, as in forces that are designed to oppress us, to press us down and keep us separated from the divine. The bottom row is a more pagan view of the gods, where they are free natural forces, independent entities and energies in and of their own right, and they are working to lift us up. Now, I come from a philosophy where, within reason, and there's a comment in itself, but within reason, everything is true. Everything is real. So I can see the effects of the archontic masks of the gods, and I can see the gods. I have more of a pagan background than not. So it's, I have Gnostic leanings as well. So the two sort of clash against one another. And there's always the thought that the pagan gods, if there are only archons and then the angels above them, then the pagan gods that we work with are egregores, astral creations of mankind. But these pagan gods, these egregores, are old creations of mankind. They'll have gained some wisdom and some energy and some power along the way. I don't personally think that they are egregores, although I do think that there are egregores of them, if that makes sense. Anyway, way too technical. Let's me get on to dealing the cards. So it's a general reading. There's not even an element of take what resonates necessarily because it's not that sort of reading. You can have a look at the energies and then observe to see whether they're at play or not in your life, and you're not necessarily going to know while watching the reading right now. But don't take my words as gospel, but also do watch your sun, your moon and your rising signs. I think certainly in a lunar eclipse month, watch your moon. Definitely. Watch your sun sign because, as Soul Garden TV says, Chris Witecki, that's your first story, your primary story. Your rising sign is the secondary story. Although in ancient astrology, your rising sign was the most important. But when we're dealing with moon readings, I think the moon features in there somewhere. So if you don't know what your moon and rising sign are, there's a link down below in the description. Follow that through to, I think it's a Cafe Astrology one, but AstroSeek is really good as well, because you can do all sorts of little, like change the house system that you're working with, and do you want to see asteroids or not. So I think I should start putting the AstroSeek link in there as well. There's also a link down there for a Facebook page for the channel. Now that has its own inbox, so if you want to contact me directly for a personal reading via that, you can do. I post all of these videos obviously, and all the astrology videos that I watch, and sometimes other, well, as I call it, in a respectful and reverent fashion, all the hocus pocus nonsense that I watch, because people can get too serious with this, and the whole point of existence is supposed to be working towards joy, isn't it? You know, so, you know, yes, take it seriously, but don't take it too seriously. You know, have a sense of humor about it, because the world is ludicrous. The fact that we chose to do this as incarnate souls is ludicrous, and so it's worth a smile. Yeah, I think that's it for the housekeeping. So, like I say, looking at the opposing energies, because full moon, sun opposed moon. All right, let me bring up the cards. And as ever, there's a timestamp in the description down below. So if you've just joined us from the timestamp, welcome Aquarius Rising and Aquarius Moon. Now, well, I'm not sure whether I've got good news for you or not. Your reading is actually quite different from any of the other readings that have come up so far. Now, I want to look at the supporting energies, the ones that are lifting you up. We have the Jade Emperor with organization. We have Hera with duty. We have Hera again with commitment. Sekhmet with empowerment, and Pluton with underworld. Now, Pluton was all about riches. But I think in this particular deck, they're talking about Pluto and not Pluton. But Pluton did end up in the underworld, and therefore, you know, because everybody does. But I'm wanting to focus half on the underworld and half on the riches side of things, because what's opposing you, what is trying to suppress you, we start with the green man and abundance. So it's almost like you are offered a chance at what you believe is to be freedom. Dionysus with freedom here in the suppressing row. And it seems like it's a sensible idea, Athena with strategy, coming from a good place, Kuan Yin with compassion, and is opening up a new world for you. But that new world just seems tangled and limited. It's almost like you're being told, yeah, there's too much combat involved. It's almost like you are being told that this is what your world can be, and then your reaction is that it? Really? That's it? Because here we've got, and this could very easily just be isolation of lockdown. We've got Hygeia with good health as something that is acting against you, clarified by the Four of Swords. But I'm also thinking that that Four of Swords is a positive force for you. It's only the God cards that are negative here, not necessarily the tarot. Let's have a look what we have. Right. So whatever this is talking about, if you stick with what you have already committed to, you stick with keeping your word, keeping up your Whether this is a work commitment or promises you've made people, or just promises that you've made to yourself. As long as you are in an organized state, you can deal with the fast changes. 8 of Wands here. And it's interesting that these two sword cards also add up to 8. But I want them to add up to the 8 of Wands, not the 8 of Swords. I'm not feeling that 8 of Swords energy here at all. But we have Hera and Swords, Hera and Swords. So there's that number 8, where there is, your duty will take you to a better place, where there is something that you are being fair about, that you are not getting distracted about. That's a positive sign of a side of the Two of Swords. If you are being deliberately blind to something, it may well be because you are focusing in on something, you are concentrating, and therefore you are blocking out the distractions, because empowerment comes that way for you. Whereas this fly-by-night offer, you are green man with abundance. It's perfectly clear that something is good for you or will bring you gain, and it offers you a freedom, and it hints that there's either love in that, or that you're bringing two wonderful things together in that. But remember, this is the oppressive row. So there's something where I do not believe in that Two of Cups. I do not believe here that Dionysus is giving you freedom. You seem to be getting more freedom with finishing. That's it. Because if you think about it, full moons are all about completion. There's stuff you have to finish first. And so what I got from here, you'll have seen me turn this one upside down, because we've got this duty and commitment here. And card number 10 from the Oracle of Heaven and Hell, the Goetic spirit is Buer, astrologically representing neglecting duties. Now he was on the bottom. Above that, Eladia with divine grace. But you need to, how can I put it? You need to earn that divine grace by putting in the work. Because things will be changing around you soon enough. And all this stuff at the top, it sounds like a fly-by-night romance, or a a party trap or something. Or I think I accused Capricorn of getting involved with the pyramid selling. I don't think this is, no, this is far more personal than that. And I have to say, this is one of the first full moon readings that have actually felt quite personal, and they've not been involving lots and lots of other people. But it's almost like you are being offered a beautiful something, but you need to finish up your commitments first. You need to deal with some pain here, because we have Pluton, underworld, but Pluton, with the underworld, we've got working through your pain, working through your shadow, working through your shadow side, especially when clarified by the Three of Swords, a well-known and well-loved card. You know, we all adore the pain that it causes and the heartache. But with the readings that Aquarius has been receiving recently, yeah, you've got quite a bit of stuff to work through, and it's in your interest to work through it and get rid, because it may be a slow process, but you are gaining empowerment through that. You are working your way towards the divine grace, and seeing this wonderful new life being offered to you that has got the money and the car and the clothes, no doubt, abundance with the Ace of Swords. It's got that unity with freedom and the Two of Cups, that comes from a compassionate level and offers you the world, but it's all just so very carefully planned out and so quite orchestrated. and you would be better. I mean, look at the amount of swords here. In fact, look at the amount of swords here. Ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Also notice how that's a loop that draws back upon itself. If you don't do the work that has been piling up, well, piling up is probably unfair. If you don't do the work that has, that is going into your underworld and sorting out all the pains and heartaches and what have you of the recent few years, then you're only going to end up back there. And this wonderful, happy, joy, new life that's being dangled, or new situation, or new job that's being dangled in front of you, you're only going to end up at square one. So why don't you finish what you need to do? Because yes, that's it. Your monthly reading said, you said never again, so why is it happening again? So I think here is opening up a chance, because again, it's a loop which goes right round or along the top and back at the bottom. But that also indicates to me that these good cards here can, in a later reading, be moved down to this bottom row where they are the God forces that are lifting you up. In fact, I quite like this circular motion. I have never seen that before in this type of reading. But you need to do the work to heal, and don't just jump on the next big thing, the next brilliantly looking thing, because you're just going to end up back where you were anyway. So you might as well put an end to it now. And then when this comes around again, which it will, you can grab hold of that opportunity with both hands. Okay, well, sorry, Aquarius, not the most cheerful of readings. But then I'm quite used to you not getting the most cheerful of readings. I think I've done you one nice reading during the entire time I've been running this channel. I'm hoping that you'll get some more. But this is a nice reading because there's that hint of the happiness that's there for you in the future, but you've got to give yourself the tools to be able to grab hold of it and not just return back to square one and having to do it all over again and again and again. Okay, so if this means anything to you, Aquarius, comment down below. Obviously, like, share, subscribe. A like helps the video. A share probably helps the video. And a subscribe helps the channel. Your next readings will probably be the Chinese Zodiac ones, I think is the next ones I'm going to sit and do. We'll see how time allows, because it's been a bit chaotic. I don't know whether it's the eclipse or whether it's Mercury retrograde or just life, and you know, time to go check my 2020 Apocalypse bingo card, I assume. All right, Aquarius, see you later. Cheers.